Welcome to International Dairy Week's podcast, Around the Barn. We are so excited to be back for season 2. Hello, I'm your host, Casey Treloar, and this is the online space where those in the Australian dairy industry can connect with each other, as well as those right around the world in the lead up to Australia's premier dairy show in January. Through video and audio, this is the exclusive one-stop shop where you can catch up with our exhibitors, judges, sponsors and fans from across the globe to talk all things cows, technology and showing down under. Well, welcome everyone back to the podcast. We do want to provide a little bit of an update on where International Dairy Week is at. We're only about 2 months away. Declan, tell us about some exciting updates. Of course, first of all, the website.
Yeah, fantastic, Casey. Well, thanks so much for jumping on everyone to the podcast. And I think it's a great time and opportunity. As Casey said, we're only 2 months away. It's not far. So we just thought it'd be beneficial to jump on board, give our exhibitors a little bit of an update on the on where we're at, some exciting new developments as well. And as Casey mentioned about the website. So the team at International Dairy Week, we've been working behind the scenes in the last few months to relaunch the new website. We're now live. If anyone hasn't jumped on board, jump on board. It's fantastic. You know, it's a whole new, brand new website. It's idwoz.com. And the website, you know, we've been working on some different sections of the website. One of those is our new entry systems and merch, and we'll sort of touch base on that as well. But idwoz.com, jump on board and have a look.
Declan, each year at Dairy Week, there's pretty strong demand for merchandise, as you mentioned, but we can already start ordering it now, I understand.
Yeah, exactly right, Casey. So you can jump on the website, idwoz.com at the moment, and click on a merch. You can put your order in now. We do encourage that the pre-sales is better because, you know, obviously this year at International Dairy Week was the first year we, organised our merchandise and things flew off the shelf. You know, I must admit that I'm a big fan of wearing the shorts to the gym. But certainly, you know, get your orders in now. We just picked up new merch yesterday. So we are fully stocked. Some people have put some orders in the last few weeks and they're going to get shipped out today. But jump on the website, put your merch order in now. It's quite simple. It's, you put what you want, you can pay with your credit card. We'll get it shipped out to you tomorrow. So jump on board and order the merch before it's all sold out.
Declan, what kind of merchandise is available for Dairy Week?
I guess, as I mentioned, the shorts are my favorite. I wear them all the time. So, and I know last year that was the first thing that sold was the shorts. And to quote Brian Leslie, I don't know why you bloody ordered hoodies, but the hoodies were also sold out, Brian. So we proved him wrong. So we've got a new order of hoodies and shorts, and so they're super popular items. The shorts are incredibly comfortable, so I think that they'll sell and fly off the shelf, especially with Dairy Week. We all know it's going to be hot, so jump on board and order those shorts and the hoodies, obviously, in those cool nights. So we have singlets as well, which obviously are going to lend themselves towards January, and shirts, polos, tees. You know, certainly we've got an array of items there that you can jump on board and order now. So jump on board, guys.
Now, of course, each year, Declan, entries are due around December time. Take us through, I understand there's a bit of a new entry system.
Yeah, thanks, Casey. I mean, the whole thing is, as I mentioned, you know, the team has been working on the new website, and a part of the new website, we've launched a new entry system. It's very similar to previous years. You know, we're not going to ask you for any more information or any less information. It's very, very similar, but it's very, very straightforward, you know. So you can jump on the new website and you find your online entries. You know, it's just a form that you fill out, but there's been a few different changes. So for this year, when you jump on and fill your entries out, at the end of the process, you're going to go to a payment gateway to make your payment for your entries. And so only you can do that this year. You've got to pay at the end of your entries through that payment gateway. You know, you can pick your clipping frame space, you can click your entries, your betting fees, etc. And we're also about to, this week, put on Power of Women tickets as well. So you can also get your tickets to the Power of Women event, which we're, incredibly supportive as well. So we're really excited to launch that new system. It's just a little more automated for the back end of International Dairy Week. And it's also very simple for people to jump on and do it. I put my entries in this week and went through the process, and it works incredibly well. So we're open now, and we close on December 7th. and it's just around the corner, as you mentioned. We're going to be here before we know it. So jump on board and put your entries in today.
Declan, of course, International Dairy Week 2023, super exciting. The first national red and white show here in Australia. Is there a bit of buzz coming about from that?
Yeah, Casey, I'm super excited. I mean, the red and white breed are going forward, in spades. It's an incredible breed, and we're seeing so much growth. And, as I mentioned earlier, I've just got back from World Dairy Expo recently. There was record entry, something like 370 or 390 head of red and white cattle at World Dairy Expo. I mean, there was classes with 50 head of heifers in there. It was absolutely amazing. And we've just seen there's some great new red bulls that have come through in the industry, and they're changing the breed. And there's a cow called Apple that probably started it all. So, we are really excited about the red and white show, and we see the buzz that North America has. And I see red and white heifers. I saw a cow on Facebook this week. It gets me incredibly excited. So, I'm a big believer in the breed. I've been very passionate about red and white Holsteins from a young age. So for this year, the opening year, I've decided to donate $1,000 to the junior champion. So if you have junior champion red and white Lightning Ridge Holsteins, personally, we will donate $1,000 to that show. And we also have a pretty good judge, Mr. Callum McKinnon from Lookout Holsteins, that will be there to adjudicate over those red and white cows.
Declan, another little new element that we're adding to the show next year is a pretty exciting international, world-class, critically acclaimed Q&A session. Take us through who's involved, what's it going to look like, what can people expect?
No, 100%, Casey. I mean, the one thing that as a team in International Dairy Week is we want everyone to come together. We all know that International Dairy Week's not just about showing cows, it's about the community. And we have a pretty special community in the agricultural industry. We get to see friends maybe sometimes only once a year. So bringing everyone together we think is incredibly important. And this year for the exhibitor barbecue, we wanted to do something different. We didn't want it just to be the sausage sizzle in Wilson Hall. We want to bring everyone together, and we've launched the industry Q&A this year, which will be hosted by yourself. So Casey, thanks so much for jumping on board with that. But we have Tom Cull from Budjon Farms who will be sitting on the stage. We have Callum McKinnon, who I just mentioned about judging the red and whites. And we also have Brian Cuscadden. So we have three of the biggest powerhouse industry names coming to International Dairy Week. You'll be able to ask, Casey will be asking plenty of questions. And then from the crowd as well, if there's any questions, we'll be able to shoot them through to three of the most influential people in the industry. So I'm incredibly excited. You as a young guy in the industry, yeah, I mean, it's an unbelievable thing. And so from a youth and from anyone that's going to be at International Dairy Week, we highly encourage everyone to come to the Q&A. I know just listening, and from my experience in the US, and I'm sure yourself, Casey, listening to those minds is absolutely incredible. So that's a new initiative we've launched this year. We want to thank all the panelists that have jumped on board. For example, Tom's never been to Australia, so this is going to be, Tom's first time. The other two have, but it's incredibly exciting to support that event from an exhibitor point of view, because, if it goes really well, we can continue it into the future. So, and who doesn't like a free dinner? So let's all get around it and and come and listen to the industry Q&A.
Declan, as many people may have seen, there's been quite a heavy flooding situation in Australia, in particular in Victoria around those Riverland regions. Can you give us a bit of an update in terms of Tatura? It's not too far from Shepparton, that has been known, there's been news reports of it going underwater. Can you give us a bit of a flooding update on the area for Dairy Week?
Yeah, no, great question, Casey. I think, first of all, our thoughts are with everyone in those regions. We have a lot of friends, a lot of friends in the dairy industry and not in the dairy industry that are in those regions that have been affected by the floods. So first of all, from International Dairy Week, our hearts go out to you. It's certainly, you've all been in our thoughts, and some of our great friends have been severely affected by these floods. So Tatura has, as you said, is very close to Shepparton. Obviously, we work very closely with the Greater Shepparton City Council, who are a naming rights sponsor of the event. So, we're certainly in constant communication with the council in regards to where we're at and how the event's going to look. So, obviously we are a little bit out from International Dairy Week. Tatura hasn't been severely affected like some of those regions around us. And we just certainly hope that, as we get close to the event, that some of that flooding has subsided. We're a January event, so in the peak of the summer. So we certainly see that we're pushing forward with the event, and we hope that the situation improves for so many people in that area as well.
So the messaging there, Dairy Week will be safe to visit, of course. We are expecting for the first time, we are so excited, post-COVID, we're expecting a whole host of international guests to come back again. Take us through how exciting it is to have them back for 2023.
Yeah, exactly, Casey. I mean, this is our second year of the event for the new International Dairy Week team, and there was definitely a hole. There was definitely a hole at Dairy Week this year without those international exhibitors. The exciting part is we've just been over at World Dairy Expo, and everyone over there said the same thing. There was a hole without those international visitors. Friends from all around the world. So we're super excited. Like International Dairy Week is going to bring the international back this year. We have some incredible judges, from overseas and world-renowned judges, which I think is incredibly exciting for me. And you know what? We've launched our new international tour this year. So hopefully we can get some people to sign on board, jump on the website or also on our Facebook page. We're running a tour with Quadrant, who specialise in agricultural tours, and that's going to be 2 days at International Dairy Week. And then you got to get to enjoy everything Australia has to offer, the Great Ocean Road and Ballarat, Sovereign Hill, Melbourne, and exploring food, wine. This is what this country is about, and beaches and a few cocktails here and there as well. So we're excited to do the international tour and launch that. We've had some great feedback on that so far, and we're so excited to bring the international people back to the show.
Declan, thanks very much for providing us an update on International Dairy Week. Again, we're only 2 months out. Entries are due soon. We're super excited to welcome back international guests, and we'll see you all soon.
Well, today we have a very special guest from Elders, Mr. Michael Robertson. Michael, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, Declan. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, fantastic. So, Michael, let's just go through a little bit of your journey. Obviously, Elders are a newer sponsor to International Dairy Week for 2022 was your first year, and obviously Elders have increased and supported the event for 2023. So we're excited to have Elders on board. But let's just run through your story, Michael. Let's run through a bit of your history, and people that may not know you, let's go through that.
Yeah, so I joined Elders 5 years ago, back in 2017. I was prior to that, I've been a stock agent and an auctioneer for nearly 10 years now, so really starting to show my age. But I've been with Elders 5 years, and I'm now the livestock or the dairy auctioneer Australia-wide for the company, and just slowly been building my I guess your craft and all that sort of stuff, and getting better and better at what I do, and a lot of doors have opened and opportunities have presented themselves to us as a company and me myself. So it's it's been a lot of fun, and it's onwards and upwards for the company and myself personally too, I guess. Yeah.
So, Michael, tell us a little bit about your personal history and your experience before joining Elders. You're obviously were a renowned cattle fitter and had travelled over the world, looking at cattle and getting inspiration from there. Just tell us a bit about that part of your story and journey.
Yeah, I guess I'm a third generation in regards to dairy farming. I was born and bred on the dairy farm. I'm one of four, so I'm the eldest of four, and we dispersed our herd, and I was about I'm 94 born, so I was about 13, 14 years old, 2007 and 8, and dairy farming and dairy cattle and stud cattle in particular have always been a passion of mine. I was very fortunate through Brad Aiken was a contact, Leading Edge Genetics. He's organised and sent me across to Canada. I lived and worked with Pierre Boulay in Quebec for 4 months, and then went across to Ontario for another 4 months with Fern Gillette Holsteins, the Patnode family. So I was 21 when I did that trip. And probably the right age, I guess you'd say, to really appreciate what you're doing and the caliber of people around you. I learned a great deal, and I'm sure I've done a great deal of growing up too while over there. So, I was very fortunate to be able to work with, the likes of Goldwyn Alana and Goldwyn June at Pierre's, and and then you turn the tables and go to your more genomic and embryo and type of cattle with Gillette. So I guess you cover all bases. I finished up at Madison, a World Dairy Expo, and that was my last stop. And funnily enough, I ended up working alongside and doing a little bit of clipping. I didn't do a great deal, but with Big Mel Nakora, and someone that I've always seen around. It's quite funny. I'd seen him around for years and years and years here at Dairy Week and shows, but I've never actually got to know him. And it took me to go across to America and him to do the same, to actually get to know one another, and we've been pretty good mates ever since. So that just sort of explains the industry that we're in, and how fortunate and lucky we are to be working with such good people and even better cattle.
It is amazing, Michael, the opportunities that us Australians get overseas, and how that really plants, and future-proofs our career here with those opportunities. And we, the dairy industry can feel pretty small sometimes when you get the opportunities to be able to work with some of those big names. So that's great to hear you've got those opportunities too. But Michael, let's turn to Elders. Plenty of livestock businesses going around. What sets Elders apart?
Well, I guess, there's a lot of, companies and agencies that can all go and sell cattle. But I guess a very fortunate part of our business is, the different aspects of our business, and what we can offer to not only our livestock clients, but our merchandise and insurance and all those sort of things that we can bring to the table. We've got an outstanding marketing team, and I guess it's what really stands out for Elders is the network. Being an Australia-wide company and a company that has really prided themselves on pushing the network and utilising it to its best. To be able to put our best foot forward to our customers, clients, and achieve the greatest result for them. So we pride ourselves on not only being able to do the best work we possibly can for them, but being a very approachable brand, and our success to date has shown that we are and that we must be.
Now, Michael, obviously you've had mention about some previous success. Let's run through some of that. I'm a big follower of some of the sales that you've done, and even on the commercial side as well. You've had some great success, especially here in Gippsland with some of those commercial sales. Can you run through some of those successes and how important that is for your clients that you've been able to represent?
Yeah, absolutely. We've developed quite the dairy business, and a strength, I guess, across the board in Gippsland in particular. We run nearly 3 dairy sales a month. Warragul sale yards closed down, and we migrated, if you will, out to Lardner Park, just down the road from your mum and dad, Declan. So we run a couple of sales out there for both commercial and registered Holstein cattle, and any dairy cattle at that. But I think a great success for us in recent times has been at Oakdale Dairies, Graham Turner, and that's an on-farm. Well, it was an idea, that came about 12, 14 months ago, and for myself, Phil Malcolm, and Graham Turner to sit down and say, righto, well, Warragul has shut. What's the next best thing? Why don't we give the on-farm platform a crack? So, that's something that I've always, my father and mother have always sort of fused into me. If you don't have a go, you'll never know. So we took the on-farm idea and have turned it into a great success in what it is. So we sell upwards of 150 or 200 cows a month. And, from Elders' point of view, Graham Turner's our biggest client in Vic Riv. And, it's all stemmed from a little idea, but from my point of view, the passion and the drive to want to become the best and be the best in regards to selling dairy cattle, and to have the support, the likes of Darryl Adams, Phil Malcolm, and our vendor Graham Turner has been second to none. So we offer as good a service, if not better than most, and we pride ourselves on delivering at the other end.
Now, talking about dairy cattle sales and markets, where's the market at? I mean, we're at all-time inflation. Has that impacted the market? What are prices looking like at the moment, Michael?
Oh, look, I think, Casey, it's uncharted waters for most. We're very fortunate in regards to milk price right now. And you can look at that from any angle, but at the end of the day, it's very strong, and as it should be. We put forward a wonderful product that is highly sought after, and it's good to see our farmers be, rewarded for what they're putting forward. So, and in turn, that reflects on your cow price. Both commercial and registered. We've seen a lot of stud sales and throughout the last couple of 3 years, and take such as you said, inflation, and it's been so strong and positive, and cattle are highly sought after. And then you come back to the commercial scale, and export has been a huge contributor. Our live export of Friesian heifers and Jersey and crossbred cattle to China and other countries also. That's for the economy, it's been huge. That's so it all plays a part. It all plays part into the bigger picture at the end of the day. So it's your export cattle, and then you come to sell your fresh and in milk cows, and on a commercial basis, we're having such a great season, and with the exception of the parts of the world that are a little bit wet at the moment, it will subside, and I think we're for a great season and moving forward. I don't see the milk industry. I don't see it being able to take a turn for the worse. That's for sure. There's more people in the world today, and you need milk. So when you strip it back to the basics, I think we're sitting in a pretty good spot.
So, Michael, in terms of prices, like say we're looking at, stud cattle versus commercial cattle, obviously each breed differs, but what prices are what prices are you guys seeing at the moment?
I think we've seen, over the years, when maybe the industry has been a little bit tougher, or, harder in places, that you register cattle way up here, and the commercial cattle take a bit of a hit. But the way I look at it, and especially in milk cattle, compared to registered commercial, I think you're seeing the sort of starting to marry up. We're selling a lot of good commercial cows in between 3,000 and 5,000 quite consistently, and there's any auctioneer or any company in the country that'll tell you the same. And then when you spin the table and you go to your registered sales and your stud cattle, and of course with select lots, you're going to have big money, and everyone gets a bit excited, and that are targeting a different market in terms of showing cattle and breeding embryos and what have you. But I think it's you've got to go to a sale in between 3,000 and 5,000 to buy a couple of good commercial cows nowadays, and how you play the register game as well as anyone, Declan, but that's strong in particular. So it's sitting in a pretty good spot at the moment.
Now, Michael, you discussed a little bit about pedigree, and you've got a pretty good pedigree yourself, mate. And someone that I always looked up to growing up was your grandfather, Rex Robertson. Rex was a leader in the red and white breed. And I know, I've had a passion for red and whites, and I always looked up to Rex. So I guess what would you think, or what do you think Rex would think of introducing a red and white show to International Dairy Week for 2023 standalone? Do you reckon he'd be pretty proud?
Oh, I think he would be. Yeah, absolutely. That's, as you said, he loved the red and whites. Probably more so than my old man. But we all but Pop was, he loved the red and white cows, and I think looking forward and broadening our horizons and looking at how other countries do it and showing cattle and having their own red and white show, I think it's about time that Australia or International Dairy Week, that's the same thing, and the quality of the red and white cattle in our country certainly warrant their own show, that's for sure.
No, fantastic. Well, you know what, Michael, we want to thank you for your time, and we also want to thank Elders. As I mentioned, Elders are a newer sponsor for the event, so we really appreciate Elders jumping on board. They're a big supporter now of International Dairy Week, and we really want to commend you as a company, and commend you for your contribution to the industry as well. So thanks so much for your time, Michael. Thanks to Elders, and we look forward to having you at International Dairy Week 2023.
Thank you, Declan and Casey, for having me. We, as you said, we look forward to seeing everyone at Dairy Week, and very, very excited to be a part of it.
Thanks for joining us for today's episode of Around the Barn. We hope you enjoyed hearing from each of our guests. If you like what we're talking about, make sure you hit the share button. That's all we've got time for. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.